Can I quit the rat race with my current strategy? We're going to discuss that and more on this episode of the Hot Real Estate Investing Podcast.
Welcome. This is the Hot Real Estate Investing Podcast, a podcast dedicated to helping others through real estate investing. Our hosts interview guests from all aspects of real estate investing who generously share valuable experiences and advice. Whether you're starting out or an experienced investor, this is the show for you.
Hello and how's it going? My name is Travis Shelton and welcome to the Hot Real Estate Investing Podcast, where we focus on the mindset, motivation, and methodologies of successful real estate investors. And today we're going to talk and kind of answer a question and discuss something specific and probably the reason why you guys tune into this show. And that's, can I escape the rat race? So we're going to talk about three things today. As always, we're going to talk about what is the rat race. We're going to talk about two, why it's okay to change or pivot your real estate focus. And third and last, we're going to talk about why you should pivot or change your real estate focus. All right, let's dive right in. So again, today we're really going to kind of focus on that question. And this is a question what I'm encouraging you all to ask yourself on a regular basis. Okay, really sit down at least quarterly and ask yourself, can I quit the rat race with my current strategy? So whatever your real estate investing strategy is, whether it's single family buy and holds, whether it's the BRRRR method, whether it's multifamily mobile home investing, REITs, whatever the heck fancies your real estate investing pleasure, is that strategy good enough to leave the rat race? Okay, so let's dive in. Number one, what is the rat race? Okay, so this rat race, right? If you know Rich Dad Poor Dad, you know what I'm talking about. If maybe you haven't read Rich Dad Poor Dad, read Rich Dad Poor Dad. But really, the rat race is kind of the definition of that we learn from a young age that the only way to get ahead in this world is to go to a good school, to get a good job, and to work harder and harder to try to get ahead, right? And it's the proverbial rat race or hamster wheel, right? As you keep working harder, as you keep making more money, things become more expensive. There's no more doodads or knickknacks or things that you want, right? To live up to the Joneses. So you get a good job. Well, your friends have a nice car. Everyone that you surround yourself with in that profession has a nice car, so you buy a nice car. They live in a nice neighborhood, so you live in a nice neighborhood. Their kids go to private school, so your kids go to private school. And thus this rat race of continuing to try to one-up each other, to continuing to have to make more money or work harder to make the same amount of money or bring home the same amount of money. And you can never kind of break this cycle. And so what Rich Dad Poor Dad is really all about is trying to define what an asset and liability is so that you can eventually escape the rat race by accumulating more assets and less liabilities. Okay. And so this is really, really important because I think most people, especially myself, I had that rich dad. He told me, become a pharmacist. You'll make over $100,000 a year. You'll have a doctorate. You'll never have to worry about money or retirement again. And I'm blessed to have such a loving father. I love him to death. And I wouldn't be where I'm at today without all his love and support and advice. And I'm here because I am a pharmacist, right? And I was able to make enough money to then be able to venture into real estate investing and to do what I've been doing within real estate investing. And so there's a pro to having that good education and having that solid job, but there's also negatives like high student loan debt. There's some negatives to having a high net worth, where you do pay a lot in taxes. And so trying to find tax savings, and then also just being in that, wanting to live up to the Joneses and living in the nicer neighborhoods or having the nicer cars and, trying to live within your means while also trying to maybe not have to wait till retirement. And really a big, push for me was I was working at Mayo Clinic as a pharmacist, as an oncology pharmacist. And one of my great mentors, Archie Bohr, he passed away. He was 65. He did all the right things, got his, PharmD and doctorate at a really early age, worked at Mayo Clinic for 20 plus years, had his pension, had a huge retirement fund, never was able to retire. And still at the very end of his career, at the very end of his life, he was still picking up doubles. He was still working 2 or 3 extra shifts a week. He was still working weekends. And I just kind of really had to step back and think to myself, am I really going to work till I'm 66, 40 years at the same company, making pretty much the same amount as a new grad pharmacist coming out of school, working extra shifts so that maybe one day I can retire. Maybe I can, when I'm 66, 67, enjoy life and actually not have to work 40 hours or 50 hours or 60 hours a week like he was. And so, that really lit a fire under me, and got me to really focus more on my real estate investing journey. So sorry, I digress. That's really a mentor of mine, someone I really loved, and someone I still think about a lot. And, I love you, Archie, up there in the sky, and somebody that I truly, I'm not the man I am today without Archie in my life, and really appreciate all his guidance and mentorship in my life. And so, let's kind of go back to that rat race. Okay. And so Archie was living in the rat race, right? It's you work to make an income. Cool. You got an income, but now you got your responsibilities. You got your bills, and you want the nice car, or you have kids and they have to have the nice car, or you have to have the nicest, newest clothes, or the newest, hats, or the newest shoes. You got to have your new kicks on all the time. So you have that lifestyle creep. You got to go on that really nice fancy vacation, right? And so you end up not having as much savings, right? Little to no savings. And then from there, you're kind of living beyond your means. Oh, we're going to put the credit card, we're going to put the vacation on a credit card this year until we get that bonus check. Okay, we're going to put the kids all their new clothes for school on a credit card because we can't afford it, right? And then ultimately you have all these debts and these loans and these bills and these things that are really liabilities and not assets. So you're buying the new car, you're buying your primary house that's maybe a little bit too big or outside your means or really at the top of your means. You're buying all this new clothes for your kids. So at the end of the day, you have no savings, you have no ability to really invest or any means to be able to grow passive income or cash flow to be able to replace your income at some point. And so that's what the rat race is, right? You're just spinning circles and circles and circles from the time you're 15 or 16. I mean, I started working when I was 15 to the time you're 65 for the potential, for the chance that nothing happens in your life, that you live that long, that you have enough at the end of the day to possibly retire. That was just not enough for me, and it shouldn't be enough for you guys. And so that's why I want you guys to continue to ask yourself, and as real estate investors, is your current strategy going to get you out of the rat race? Okay. And this was something I heard a long time ago, and something that really spoke to me. And so I ask myself this pretty regularly and at least on a quarterly basis. But I want to go back to kind of number 2, why it's okay to pivot or change your real estate focus, right? And we talked about the rat race, being in this hamster wheel. So now I want to bring a quote I've used before, but a quote that really I like to share a lot. And it's from Napoleon Hill. And it states, "The majority of men meet with failure because their lack of persistence in creating new plans to take place of those which fail." So you're always having to create new plans, right? This isn't necessarily shiny object syndrome, but there's things that you're going to learn, and then you're going to learn things that are a little bit better, and you're going to do it a little bit better, right? You had training wheels when you first learned how to ride a bike. Well, getting rid of those training wheels, it was really nice because you had more freedom, more flexibility, could go faster, could put your bike on the ground. There's pros. So even though you started with training wheels and, hey, training wheels are great, it was way better when you got the training wheels off. And it's the same within real estate or within investing, right? So as you guys are going through and you're learning one avenue of real estate investing or one niche, right, it might be able that information or that knowledge is going to be even better served in another area, right? Or you're going to start doing one sort of investing and realize, you know what, maybe this isn't for me. And you're going to want to or need to pivot. And so I think in today's society, we consider that maybe a failure, or maybe you don't know exactly what you want. But I actually think that's an incredible strength. The faster you switch or pivot to something that is more beneficial, that your strengths, that aligns with your strengths better, the better and faster you're going to develop, and the better and faster you're going to be able to eliminate and get out of the rat race. And so I want to kind of bring in my own example here. I've shared this book with you guys before, but it's called The Millionaire Real Estate Investor. One of my favorite books. It's a book I read almost every single year. It really started my journey. It gave me a lot of best tips, best practices. There's still things I have on my whiteboard with the triangle of criteria, terms, and network. But The reason I bring that up is because that's how I read this book. I said, this gives a really nice process. And something I say all the time to you guys is success leaves clues. And what this book provides is really that framework and that process, right? It's a proven model of success that you can emulate and you can follow, and you can ultimately be financially wealthy. And that's why I love this book. It was literally a blueprint. It was like, follow this book and you're going to be okay. And so I was like, hey, I'm going to follow this book. It's a proven model. It's a process or method used to produce desirable, repeatable results and built on the best practices of high achievers in a given area. And so that's what this book is. A bunch of high achievers, a bunch of people like Keller Williams that, have done really good within real estate investing, a lot of investors. And what's kind of cool, a lot of these are actually from Arizona. So it was cool because I've actually seen or known them within the Valley. Of people that have been successful following this method. And so that's what I started doing. I said, hey, I'm going to buy a house every year. I'm going to buy it right. I'm going to pay it down and I'm going to pay it off. And eventually I'm going to have this really nice nugget of real estate investments and I'm going to be good. And so I started that when I was 26 years old, got my doctorate, got my first house. A year or two later, got my first investment property. And I was on this journey, right? But what I found was that journey was really long. It took a long time to save up enough money to be able to put a down payment on the next house. And so I was averaging about a house every other year that I could buy as an investment property. But as you guys know, especially in Phoenix, these didn't necessarily cash flow huge. So I'm putting $50,000, $60,000 into these homes that are cash flowing a couple $100 a month. I'm like, this is not going to get me, right? As I asked that question again, does this strategy, does it get me out of the rat race? And ultimately I decided no, even though I was gaining huge appreciation in these homes, some of them almost doubling, the cash flow wasn't there. So I had to pivot. I had to think of what is a way I can get out of the rat race quicker than buying a house every 2 years that cash flows about $100 a month. And, it's going to give me 20, 30 years to be able to leave the rat race. And so with my healthcare background and my wife's healthcare background, we looked into residential assisted living, kind of molding the two loves that we have for healthcare and passion for helping people, and then ultimately real estate. And we paid for gurus. We learned a ton. We've had Isabel Guarino of the Residential Assisted Living Academy on this show to talk about assisted living. I love the concept. I love helping others. But ultimately what we found, my wife, Erin, and I found out that just wasn't passive enough for us. And it was also something that we couldn't turn off. We cared too much about the patients, the tenants, those people in the room. And even though we would hire a manager, we cared too much about the overall health of the people in our homes. And while that's a great thing, it's not a great thing when you're trying to be more passive. And it's not a great thing to build another business that I have to work in or force myself to work in. And so that's why we ultimately, due to a number of different reasons, ultimately wound up on multifamily, because we like the passive nature of it. We like the business nature of it. We like the ability to raise money for it. And just a lot of different tax savings, that are associated with multifamily, that is our current niche and what we're really trying to expand our portfolio into, and really using the simple monopoly, way of we've got a bunch of single little greenhouses and we're trying to trade those up, especially with the appreciation and the equity we have in them, to buy more multifamily properties and invest in more real estate multifamily syndications and funds, so we can add additional doors to our portfolio and also have more of a passive investment strategy within real estate, right? That mailbox money, or that money that is truly, I'm investing in that I quadrant of the cash flow quadrant, so that we can get ahead and our money is working for us, right? Instead of us working for money. And so as an investor, and something I really liked about the Millionaire Real Estate Investor was it had some things that, you should say to yourself as an investor every day. And it said, one of the things it said was, I'm an investor. I am building financial wealth. Is today the day I find an opportunity and make a deal, right? So again, just a nice affirmation, a nice something you can ask yourself every single day, something to get you started on the right foot, and the right mindset, like we talk about on this show, of a real estate investor. Is today I'm going to find a deal, right? Maybe you've been looking for 6 months. Last year it took till literally the last day of the year to find a multifamily property that I could close on. It took a long time. It wasn't that I wasn't looking. Things didn't find my buy box. I had to walk away from a couple deals and ultimately close on a deal basically the Monday before, it was like the 27th or 28th of December, before I closed on that 6 units in South Carolina. the last thing I want to leave you with this Millionaire Real Estate Investor, okay, is one of the things I really liked was they had this triangle that really kind of focused and if what I'm going to tell you is you should, right, pivot and change your real estate focus. And why? Because what got you here won't get you there. Okay. Whatever you started with, you've gotten better. You're going to get better. You're going to get smarter. You're going to meet different people. Your network's going to grow. Your abilities are going to grow. And so you're going to have to figure out how to supersize your real estate investing as you start getting going, right? You're going to have to figure out how do I scale? So you have to figure out how to change that real estate focus and scale. And one of the tried and true things I really like about the Millionaire Real Estate Investor is this fact that they really kind of always summarize things into three things. So number one, it's criteria. Identify potential deals, and that's based on your criteria. So you always have to have a criteria no matter what type of real estate investing you're going to focus on. Number two, terms. Okay. Terms are really important. All right. And the terms determine the real deals from the fake deals, right? You can find one deal, it's $1 million and it's at 6%. And, the deal just doesn't work. But maybe that same deal at $1 million, you can get owner financed at 2%. And now it's a good deal. Right. And so those terms really play a crucial factor in any kind of situation or any kind of deal to kind of make that holy triad. And then last is your network. Okay. And your network supports all your deals. And so regardless of the real estate focus or niche that you're looking for, you really got to have clearly defined criteria, terms, and build your network around that criteria. And that's going to help you move your real estate forward the fastest and hopefully lead to the best success in your real estate investing journey. So I really hope this helped. And I really hope that you continue to ask yourself, can I quit the rat race with my current strategy? I hope that I've shared some nuances of my own investing criteria, starting with single family long-term rentals, kind of wanting to do residential assisted living, and ultimately, finding multifamily, as the best niche and the best real estate investment strategy for me right now, to be able to escape the rat race. And so if you're looking to know more, definitely check me out on social media. I'm on Instagram, YouTube, all the different social media platforms. I really appreciate the follow, appreciate the listen. And all I ask is one thing. If you found value out of this content, please share it with just one person. I'm trying to get out there. I'm trying to share some expertise, share some knowledge with as many people as possible. So every single referral really means a lot to me. Thank you for listening today. God bless. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Hot Real Estate Investing Podcast. Check out our website, hotrei.com, for additional content and resources. And please take a moment to subscribe and leave a review so we can continue to bring even more value to others through real estate investing.